Convo Fango. Today we are joined by director, writer of The Exorcism of God, Alejandro Hidalgo. Yay!
Hey, how
Yeah.
are you?
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to hang out and talk about your creepy ass movie.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Very excited to share and to respond all your questions.
Awesome. Can you tell us first off what is this movie about?
Well, this is a very frightening and terrifying story of Father Peter Williams, who is a very tormented man. 18 years ago, he was forced to perform an exorcism without any kind of experience. And basically, he was psychologically defeated by the demon. He fell in temptation. He was possessed and committed the most terrible sacrilege. So he has been living the last 18 years with this secret, with this guilty. And he has been trying to help people. He's living in an isolated town in Mexico, and he's helping. He's finding humanitarian aid for poor people and helping sick children. After this, the demon comes back to his life when it possesses a girl called Esperanza, and the only way Father Peter has to exorcise her is by confessing his sin. But if he does this, he will be excommunicated. He will lose his home because basically he fell in love with this town in Mexico with warm people, and he also will lose the opportunity to save his children, to save the town, and to help people. So it's a story full of a horror spectacle, but also it's a story that goes into the conflicts and dilemmas of a very tormented character. So I feel it's a great mixing of drama and horror.
Nice. What was your guys' inspiration for this story? Because this is, I really, really enjoyed this one, and there were elements.
Oh,
I'm not going to give any
cool.
spoilers, but there are a lot of
Yeah,
elements of
yeah.
it where I was like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, I was inspired in of course the masterpiece of the genre, The Exorcist. When I was a kid and after watching this movie when I was 10 years old, I was like
10.
making, yeah, 10. And I was traumatized, praying every night. I was alone at home when I watched it.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, with time, these traumas became my passion for the genre. And when I was like 14, 13, I was with some friends recording video. No, not video. They were basically tapes. They would this way they were like radio movies, like with exorcisms and and, and,
It's like
and
old
things
school
like that.
podcast, the beginning of podcasting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, with time I wanted to develop a story with all the conventions and principles for this genre. I wanted to explore special and visual effects to create a great spectacle of horror and frightening scenes. But also I wanted to talk about this story because I was raised Catholic, and I wanted to talk about the divorce that sometimes exists between spirituality and religion. I wanted to talk about a man who has to find redemption, and I wanted to also bring like a twist to the genre that I think we found, because we wanted to talk about how as humans we can exorcise God from our body by committed sins or just falling in temptation. So I think it's a story that can bring a lot of debates and discussions, and reflection. So yeah, I feel this story can bring a lot of horror and fun, but also can bring some thoughts and reflections to the audience.
Makes you think on it a little bit for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the idea.
And I love, obviously, you're a fan of The Exorcist. You can tell by looking at this. But there's
Yeah,
this really great shot where you pay like ultimate homage to The Exorcist,
yeah,
and it's basically like an exact recreation of this
yeah,
iconic shot, and it's so
yeah,
beautiful. But then that's where the similarities end. You kind of set
yeah,
it up and you think, like, okay, is this going to be something that I've seen like 1,000 times because we all
yeah,
love The Exorcist? And then you
yeah,
just like flip it on its head from that moment. You're like, here's this
exactly.
exact shot, and now
Yeah.
that's the last thing you're going to see that's similar to it.
I think every single exorcism movie has to make a homage to the exorcist, because they create everything. Like the only thing we can maybe change is the storytelling, the characters, the conflicts, but the principles are there. Like how can you twist something more terrifying than Regan's possession is crazy.
Right, right. And I don't ever care to see a possession in real life or an exorcism in real life, but I'm like, that's got to be what it looks like, right? I'm like, that's what it looks
Yes,
like.
exactly.
What like there's kind of I don't without spoilers, I feel like there's multiple exorcisms happening here. There's like head-to-head exorcisms, reverse exorcisms, and I just thought that concept was really cool because I was like, "What? I didn't think about it in those terms, I guess, before."
Yeah. Well, it's very difficult to respond the question without like spoiling it, but
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like the concept of this story is how can we expel the light of God from us by falling into darkness, and that matter is very important because we only think people can be possessed by demons, but also we can be possessed by the light of God because we are basically the sons of God. And you can see that literally on the story, and you can also see it metaphorically in a metaphor by looking the evil creatures we create for this story. Like we have a very original monsters on the movie, like the possessed Jesus and the demonic Virgin Mary, that basically are the characters, the demons haunting Father Peter Williams. It's like the main concept of faith has been corrupt into the most terrifying and pervert fears.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think this story is set on religion, but the religion is used as a metaphor to talk about the humans, about his dilemmas and about how can they get corrupt.
Right. I was super disturbed by the demonic Jesus because I mean, this is like an icon of good, right, that we're used to
Yeah,
seeing. So then to
yeah.
see it kind of like bastardized into this evil demonic version, I was like, I am so disturbed by this.
Yeah,
Like, wow.
yeah, yeah. It's like when we are afraid, we pray to Jesus because basically he is like the image of love, and is the Son of God, and he brought the most beautiful messages to humankind. But if you are praying to him to find protection, but now he turns to become the devil. Yeah, that's the biggest fear for any person of faith.
Absolutely. And I was like, this is gonna give me nightmares for sure.
That's that is a success.
Yeah. You have a lot of fun looks in this movie. Like what kind of, I mean, obviously The Exorcist, but were there other things that you were drawing from as far as like the look of like the possessed and the demons?
Well, I was like combining very classic stories like The Exorcist, Evil Dead, with also like contemporary horror movies like the Conjuring, The Nun, or It. Basically, set it in a very original way, in a very original story. But yeah, I feel this story is like a perfect marriage between the classical and the contemporary horror.
Yeah, nice. I like the Evil Dead reference too, because there were for sure elements
Yeah.
of that. And it's always fun. Like
Yeah.
the best part of exorcism movies, they scare the shit out of me. But I always love like the demons are always such little assholes, and the taunting that they do, and that's always so fun. I'm like I'm terrified, but I'm also a little bit having fun with like the taunting that the demons do.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. That was the purpose. I wanted people to have fun. When I made the movie, I thought about a film I will have to have fun with a girlfriend, having popcorns at the movie theater, having amazing jump scares and terrifying moments, but also to leave the movie theater conflicted by myself, like questioning and having reflections and debates. And I feel the movie has achieved that because we have an audience that really loves the movie, and they are like thinking about the story, and we have other people who is very sensitive about their religion, so they resolve very like offended, and I didn't want it to be like how can I say, like I didn't want it just to make a movie to make happy everyone. I wanted to
Right.
make something terrifying and to bring subjects to discuss on the table, and I think we found it.
Have you gotten some backlash from people being offended by this or feeling that it's oh
Yeah,
really? Okay.
yeah, I have received. I never in my life received this kind of message in my private Instagram account. From people very offended. I mean, like it's tough. It's difficult to talk about it, but some people sometimes they don't understand totally the meaning
Hmm.
of the story, and they take the opposite message. I feel the message of this story is like, how can we let God to abandon us by committing sin, and how can we just find God where the light or where the love is,
Hmm.
because there is people who is very fanatic to religion, and that is okay, as much as you take the good part of religion, because as a person, I was raised Catholic. I don't feel I am Catholic anymore, but I follow the Catholicism principles. Like, basically, Jesus said to humankind, like, love the others as you love yourself. And basically, that single line is everything. Like, is all the 10 rules of the
Uh-huh.
Catholicism. You wouldn't kill, you wouldn't feel envy, you wouldn't steal, and you wouldn't have bad thoughts. And basically, it's just by trying to have love for others, but as a person has evolved, as a human, as an spiritual person, I cannot just support sometimes a religion that he's been involved in scandals of sexual abuse, or basically it has been always this has been discriminating, for example, the homosexuals,
Hmm.
so that is the message I want to bring. We have to find God as individuals, where love is, and not where discrimination or sin is. And sometimes this happens in a religion institution like the Catholicism, like, basically we have 10 centuries of the dark ages. So yeah, we have to understand that to follow our own God.
It's kind of like you were talking about before, also like the divorce of spirituality and religion. Those can be two different
Yeah,
things. Like
yeah,
religion is rules set by men,
yeah,
essentially, and spirituality is your relationship with something outside of that. So I feel like that's an interesting
exactly,
line to walk.
exactly, yeah.
I'm sorry that your DMs are blowing up with some hate mail. I hope there's some love in there too.
No, yeah, yeah. I mean, like, the movie has been a huge success in the theatrical release in Latin America. The distributors, they had high expectations to find 300,000 admissions in Mexico, and we are already getting 500,000.
Oh, hell
And,
yeah.
yeah, we were on the number one position at the Brazilian box office. We are still having amazing numbers in Argentina, Colombia, Venezuela, and now it's going to be released in Central America, and now are releasing finally in the US. I am so excited to see how the American audience is going to respond with our theatrical and video on demand release.
Yes, I love that. We're gonna champion this one because I like it's very rare. I watch horror movies all the time. I love them. They don't always scare me. It's very rare that a
Yeah,
horror movie scares me. That's not usually what my takeaway is. I have
yeah,
fun with it. There's other things to take away.
yeah,
But people ask me like, okay, like give me a scary movie. And I hate that question because I love to recommend movies, but fear is a very, very personal thing. So I'm like,
yeah.
demons scare the shit out of me. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't scare you, but to me, that's scary. Like this movie fucking scared me. like, like there was a point where I was just like doing like an angry scowl, and I like texted one of my friends. I was like, "This movie is too scary. Like I'm like upset at like how scared I am." And I'm watching it in the afternoon by myself. It wasn't even like dark outside, and I was like, "I am
Yeah.
disturbed and very scared."
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so weird to feel happy about hearing a person who is scared as fuck.
Well, that's
But
what
that
you
makes me
set out to
happy.
do. Yeah.
Yeah,
We have weird jobs though, because it sounds like it's like a negative thing, but it's a positive. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm very upset with you, but I mean that as a
yeah.
compliment.
It's positive. I mean, like, a horror movie works if you are being scared. A comedy works if you are having fun and laughing. So yeah,
Exactly.
it is working. Yeah,
Yeah. And there's some levity in here too, like I said, with like the taunting of the demons. There's just certain things where the demons do, and you're like, what a little shit. And it's quite funny and it's disgusting and grotesque, and you're
yeah,
like, oh God, like
yeah,
cringing at it, but like kind of giggling too.
yeah. Exactly. That was
There's
the intention.
there's a phenomenon that happens in a lot of like possession movies And I guess it's just a little bit beyond my comprehension because I'm like, okay, demons, I get it. They're all about temptation and drawing you into sin, but they always look like a, like a zombie, like half decayed or disgusting. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're a beautiful girl, but now you're possessed by a demon. So you're not all that attractive because I can see that you're possessed by a demon, but it never fails. She's like trying to tempt a dude and the dude is kind of like, maybe. And I'm like, no. What about this is attractive to you? How are you being tempted when she's like has her skin falling off and is like pissing on the floor? Like,
Maybe I'm a weird guy, but when I see Magali in the first scene possessed, I feel she's so sexy. I feel, and then basically that was the purpose with the makeup, with the VFX makeup crew. Basically, I was like, okay, she has to look really scary and dark, but she has to look tempting and sexy. And Magali, performed by Iran Castillo, she's a beautiful woman.
mhm.
And basically, with her, we made like a special makeup because, yeah, like her skin is like rotten. She has her thumb is black. She is like sweat, and her eyes are like yellow. But she has an amazing body, and this sweat is sexy and tempting. So I was looking for that right balance, and I have heard from other men like, oh yeah, she looks so nice. so
And you're
so
like,
yeah,
and I'm here for it. Okay, we'll call it
exactly, yeah.
personal preference, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, she's,
Maybe for other characters, I didn't look for them to look beautiful. That's the case of Esperanza. Esperanza, I feel she looks so scary and terrifying in the final exorcism, and also the possessed Jesus and the Virgin Mary. They look a little bit funny, but they are so disturbing, with
mhm.
different color eyes, and every single eye looking at different directions, and with very weird features in their rotten faces. So I am happy with these, yeah, like very weird dark creations.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I mean, she's gorgeous, but also I'm like, but I can tell that you're possessed. It's not like you like look normal and then like your eyes change color real quick. And I was like, wait, did I see that? It's
Yeah,
like, no, I can tell there's a demon in there. So I think I'm just gonna back
exactly.
away. I'm gonna peace out and say no, thank you. And you guys are like, I don't
Exactly.
know, I don't know.
You got it.
I love that though. That's awesome. What's aside? Okay, I'm guessing probably The Exorcist is what you would cite as like a movie that traumatized you. Are there other movies like we were talking about? Like fear is so personal. Like, what are your scariest movies for you personally?
Well, when I was a kid, I am like you. Like difficult. It's very difficult to find a movie that makes me feel really scared.
Hmm.
But if the storytelling is good, if I feel empathy for their characters, I'm involved by that universe, and I'm able to feel afraid. When I was a teenager, I was terrified by The Omen, and then I watched also The Shining, and I think it's a masterpiece. Later, when I was a teenager and I was like 16, 17, I loved The Sixth Sense and the others because they were scary but amazing, beautiful dramas with amazing plot twists, and The Ring, and also in the last few years, I have really loved the movies created by James Wan. I think he's a master of horror. I love The Conjuring. The first one, I think, is amazing. So I could say these are like the type of movies that have made me feel scared.
This makes all the sense in the world because like everything that you're like listing tonally, I'm like, this sounds like so on brand for like your style. Like this makes so much sense.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
Those are all great also, by the way. But yeah, are
yeah.
we dead inside because it's like takes so much to scare us? Like it's so rare. Like what?
Maybe, maybe.
It's like always chasing that high, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I
this is
love to
hell.
be scared, but it's hard to do. So,
Yeah, we're little demons.
yeah. Well, thank you for giving me a little bit of that hit of like a no, I'm scared and I'm like mad about it. Like I'm pissed off at this guy. So I'm glad I get to talk to him and be like, "Hey, what the hell?"
And that makes me feel happy
Oh,
again.
good, good. It balances out like the other people that are like offended. I'm like, "No, no, you did what you set out to do." Like I felt
Yeah.
horrible in a
Somet-
really
and
fun way.
sometimes I feel happy when they feel offended
You're
too.
like it's a reaction. It's a feeling. It's better than
Yeah,
feeling nothing or like being neutral.
yeah. Like I feel we are in a very sensitive era. Like all the movies. they are trying to be so politically correct that sometimes that kills storytelling, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, Father Michael comes to Mexico and he says, if I can make it to hell, I can make it to Mexico. And I have had people from Mexico reacting like, how can you express about Mexico like that? And I said, okay, but Father Peter Williams, he's sacrificing himself to save people in Mexico, to save the children. He's an American guy who fell in love with Mexico and he prefers to live in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I also read like a review or like a critic from the New York Times, and basically that girl called me misogynist. Is the right
Uh-huh.
pronunciation?
Misogynistic.
Maybe because there is too many possessed girls, and that was not my intention. And also, one of the characters is a nun, and basically this girl, she becomes like a hero in the middle of the story. So, come on, I didn't just wanted to please everyone. I wanted to make a movie full of horror, full of fun that can bring reflections, and basically everything that is about sexual abuse in the movie is reflected. That is something that comes from the deep, from the devil. So come on. Come on, you have to see it.
Comments like that also kind of like, as someone who watched the entire movie, like comments like that make me feel like, did you guys watch a scene and then comment on it, or did you actually finish the whole story and still feel this way
Yeah,
about it?
and
I mean,
maybe digest it and maybe talk about it, and then you were to write it. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. And I also I don't want to have the owner of absolute truth. And as a filmmaker, I know that the movie cannot just be loved by everyone, you know.
Mhm.
So I have to respect also the people who doesn't love it, and it's
Yeah.
okay. But I feel we have to reflect and not just to be so sensitive. I mean, I feel this story is not politically correct, but it's correct, and that is
Mhm.
I feel that is most important.
I mean, historically though, horror pisses people off, right? Like,
And possession more, even The Exorcist. I
yeah.
mean, everyone hates The Exorcist when it was released on 1973, you know. And I can imagine, you know, like they have a possessed girl masturbating with a cross in that year when people was more religion than now. So I cannot imagine all the haters they should have at that time. But in addition to that, people just fill all the movie theaters, and that is happening with this movie too. So
Yeah.
there is something that even that they hate it, there is something very deep down inside of them that, okay, I love this, I want to watch it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's for sure. And it's like a lot of that stuff I feel like pisses people off, and then like years down the line it's like a classic and also celebrated by people who may have hated it when it came out, but that's like
yeah,
all of that is like put aside and you don't remember that it was being boycotted and
exactly.
such.
I feel the worst things that can happen to an artist is maybe like you make a movie and nobody talks about it because it's a regular movie. You know, I
Mhm.
prefer that people don't feel I mean, how can I say that in English? Like indifferent. Yeah,
Right.
like
Yep.
I don't want people to be indifferent. I want people to react, and people
Yes.
is reacting, and people is going to the movies, people is watching it, people is loving it, and some people is hating it. So
Mhm.
it's fine. The film is working.
100%. That's a great part to stop on, because I feel like go see this movie, you're gonna feel something.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Yeah,
gonna love it, you're gonna hate it, but it's very, very unlikely that you're gonna feel indifferent about this movie.
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thank you so much. It was cool to get to like chat with you, especially because like this one fucked me up. So I'm glad that I got to like see your face and tell you like, hey, thanks for the nightmares, dude.
Yeah. I'm so glad you had nightmares.
Yeah, thanks. I'm hoping we get like a sequel franchise out of this, because I feel like there's a possibility for more adventures for our Padre there.
Yeah. I mean, like we have heard a lot of people asking for the sequel, and I have amazing ideas for that. I wanted to. My intention, if I make the sequel, is to have like a kind of prequel and sequel at the same time, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
there is like a background that is very interesting to explore. And I'm also working on other projects, and yeah, I'm just moving forward to become better and to share amazing stories with the audience.
Amazing. And I'm looking forward to watching all of it and probably having more nightmares, because that's what you
Thank
do.
you.
So,
Thank you.
all right, guys, check out Exorcism of God, now available in theaters, on demand, and digital.